Stephen Curry against the Houston Rockets was held to just 3 points in the game.
Yeah.
Now, it was a tough first half, but he managed to hit a crazy three to kind of end the half, saying, you ain't going to keep me scoreless for a full half of basketball.
Right.
But the Rockets did an outstanding job defensively. They were face guarding him with whoever was on him. Amon Thompson caused some real problems being the athlete that he is. But then you've got the versatility of other guys like a Dylan Brooks, for example, or a Torrey Eason. And if these guys get switched, they can still cover him. And then
Mhm.
oftentimes, even off ball, they were sending two defenders at Steph. Jimmy Butler was the beneficiary of some of that, getting some easy looks in the paint. But you'd rather give up a Jimmy Butler layup than Steph Curry getting open and heated from the 3 point line.
Mhm.
It was a fascinating game. And the thing that jumped out to me most, though, Scott, is we're a week away from the playoffs now.
Mhm.
The intensity of this game, obviously, Draymond Green always brings the intensity,
Right.
but it's like he was on another level in last
Mhm.
night's game. He
Right.
ended up getting ejected, a flagrant foul on Alperen Şengün, where he ran into him and elbowed him in the face. Um, and I thought he was kind of lucky to still be in the game at that point because before there was an incident where they were kind of pushing each other a little bit, and the ref
Mhm.
gave them a warning and gave him a technical. But anyone else in that position gets ejected from the game. But Draymond's got a more lenient whistle, shall we say, from the referees due to his reputation. But the intensity of the game was fantastic. But what jumps out to
Mhm.
you, because a lot of people have kind of overlooked the Rockets in a way. They've been the second seed the majority of the year, and they're not getting that same. People talk about, can the Lakers win it? Can the Clippers win it? Can the Warriors win it? Can the Nuggets win it? The Thunder going to win it? And I just don't hear anyone talking about the Rockets in that way. Did last night's game signal to you that they are serious contenders in the Western Conference?
Can't take these guys lightly, Mo. And here's why. It was clear to me last night that Ime Udoka gathered his team and told them, look, this is a chance for us to make a statement. This Golden State Warriors team, four-time champion, has been on a huge incline as a team since the Jimmy Butler trade. And so they have presented themselves as a serious threat in this upcoming playoff race, them being Golden State Warriors. So what better way for a younger team like the Rockets, to your point, who've kind of been either taken for granted or disregarded, maybe because of their youth, to go in to Golden State, because Golden State is still trying to win a lot of games now to move up in the standings. I believe they had an opportunity at least to get to the fourth spot. So Houston, what I like about them, and I believe we talked about this last week, they're tough, they're deep, they're athletic, and they have size on the wing. And you talked about the switchability of guys like Tyree Eason and Dylan Brooks and Amen Thompson. So that size and athleticism caused some problems last night for the Golden State Warriors basketball team. And I believe it gave a game like last night, even though it wasn't the playoffs, but to your point, there was heightened awareness on both sides in both locker rooms last night in terms of Houston wanted to make a case that, hey, we're getting ready for the playoffs and we're going to be a difficult out, and Golden State continuing to show, hey, we're worthy of another championship run. It was awesome to see just how that young team responded. They didn't flinch. And we always talk about matchups. And that size and athleticism, as we look forward, if these two teams were to match up in a 7-game series, it would be very interesting because you got to give the Houston Rockets the edge in terms of the size and athleticism. Now, you give the experience, obviously, to the Warriors. So it'll be a fascinating matchup if those two organizations were to meet in the playoffs. But uh, Houston's Achilles heel has been shooting the basketball from the perimeter consistently from beyond the arc. Last night they got very good production from Jalen Green
Hmm.
too.
Hmm.
Making some shots from beyond the arc. So if he can be consistent from beyond the arc to go along with a guy like Fred Van Fleet. Now this Rocket team, because they're going to be extremely well coached and they're tough and they're going to be unafraid. I think they're going to be a difficult out. I am not taking them lightly. I just believe they're being underestimated because of the lack of experience and they haven't been in the playoffs in a while. So it's going to be a little new to them. But boy, watching them last night, they seemed to me to be up for the fight and the challenge of this Western Conference playoff battle.
The biggest question around the Houston Rockets is what you alluded to, the shooting the 3-point line from behind the 3-point line, but it's also their half-court offense. Because there were stretches in that game against the Warriors where it looked very stale. It was kind of taking turns with isolations. The offense, when Şengün is out of the game, because they like to operate it through him in the post, but when he's not in the game, their offense does become quite stagnant. However, what they can do defensively with their athleticism and their size, coupled with what they can do on the glass. Like last night, Şengün alone had 7 offensive rebounds. Amen Thompson had 3 offensive rebounds. Jabari Smith had 3 offensive rebounds off the bench. Steven Adams had 2 offensive rebounds. What they can do on the offensive glass. So even though they lack, outside of Jalen Green, true kind of one-on-one shot creators. You know, Fred VanVleet, he can get shot off using picks and whatnot. But even though they lack some of that half-court offensive creation, they can make up for it with that emphasis on the offensive glass. And that's been a point of emphasis for them this entire season. That's probably why they went out and signed a Steven Adams. That can help nullify that. And the question is, would you rather have the best defense and the best offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding? But I got to give the Warriors credit. They did pull up 15 offensive boards last night. Kevon Looney coming into the game was amazing. But the defense and the rebounding being so good, it might help take the burden off the offense when it does slow down.
The defense and rebounding, that travels. So you know, obviously you expect to play better at home, but you go on the road. If you defend and rebound at a high level, you're going to have a chance to win games because you can utilize that defensive prowess and pressure to create easy basket opportunities in transition. They have the athletes who can get out after getting the stop and finish at the rim, get easy looks at the rim as well, get better 3-point looks coming out of the flow, playing with a little pace. So I love when a team is excellent on that defensive end and excellent on the glass, because I know this much here. It is difficult, and I know we're going to get into talking about the Lakers here in a little bit too, and other teams in their big matchup against OKC, but it's difficult to play exceptional offensive basketball 16 times, and I say 16 times because it takes 16 times to win a championship. You're going to have a defensive presence on those nights where you're not shooting it quite as well to allow your defense be the catalyst for some victories along that long journey to an NBA championship. So give me that defense. I think this team will continue to improve offensively, and they'll be able to see it. The beauty of the playoffs is you sit back, and if I'm in the front office there, you're going to be able to really examine, okay, the impact our defense can have on games, and then what we may be lacking offensively, where it really hurts us. So when you go out and look to add to your roster, or you continue to develop those guys on your roster, you really know which areas on the offensive side you really got to get better at, and how to add to your team.
And as time goes on as well, players like Amen Thompson will develop on the offensive end. You can
no
already see
question,
this
he's going to
season
get better.
alone, he's improved on the offensive end. That Euro step he
Yes.
hit over Jimmy Butler was fantastic. But it's also worth noting that last week, or just a few days ago, they took down the OKC Thunder as well. And once again, the difference maker in that game, they have double the amount of offensive rebounds in that game. And they put Steven Adams into the starting lineup, and he came away with 12 boards, 6 of them offensive. So the emphasis on the boards and the emphasis on defense, I think that the Rockets definitely do command some more respect compared to what they're getting, but they've got to get to the playoffs and show us that they can do it.